Hey, it's Mike Brennan, and we're doing another segment on MITech TV, and we have with us here today Tim Draper. I was chatting with him briefly before we started. He was in Detroit last month for several events, and unfortunately, I was not able to attend those events. So, his PR person, I said, well, let's get Tim on my show. That'll get a chance for me to talk to him. And so, Tim is a venture capitalist. He has Draper University to shall we say, take entrepreneurs and make them better? Would that be safe to say, Tim?
Sure, yeah. Well, people told me that entrepreneurship couldn't be taught, that it was just innate in people. And I thought, whenever people say something can't be done, I always think, how would I do that?
Sounds
And
like a
so I
business
created Draper
opportunity.
University of Heroes, and we've created 6,000 entrepreneurs, and have created about 2,000 companies, and five are unicorns worth more than $1 billion, and
Hmm.
about 20 are companies that are worth more than $100 million. And they've come from 102 different countries, these people that come to our school. It's harder to get into than Harvard or Stanford.
All right. I think you went to Harvard, right?
And Stanford.
And Stanford. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a certain tech entrepreneur I've heard of a few times. It's a native Detroiter, actually.
Oh, did he go to Harvard and Stanford?
Not Gates.
No, I'm talking about Dan Gilbert.
No, nope. He went to Michigan State. I was actually one of the first journalists to interview him for Crane's Detroit Business back in 1991 when he was first starting out.
So
He
who
had
are
like
we talking about?
uh, Gilbert.
Oh, Dan Gilbert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Dan Gilbert. He had like 25 guys making cold calls in a nondescript office building in a Detroit suburb back then. And boy, what he said back then was exactly what he did was he said, you can get a mortgage any place, they're all the same. So what I'm going to do is just service the hell out of you and come to your kid's baseball game to close the deal. And that it was all about service. That's how he differentiated himself.
Yeah, well, you got to love your customer. That works.
All right. So let's talk about some of your ventures. You've been pretty active. Groundbreaking companies like Tesla, SpaceX, Hotmail, Skype, Coinbase, and a few others. Let's talk about that and what the secret of your success is in whipping them into shape.
Well, I just help the entrepreneur get a little more confidence, I think. That entrepreneurs come to me all the time. I evaluate about 80,000 a year.
Hmm.
We fund about 50 total.
Yeah.
And the way we do it is um, we evaluate. Um, it's not based on fear, it's based on opportunity. And um, as Frank Herbert says, fear is the mind killer. And so we're always thinking about how high is up? How great would it be if this entrepreneur is successful? And then we evaluate the entrepreneurs through that lens. We say, is this big enough? Is it important enough? Is it going to transform an industry? Um, and if it is, then I'm willing to take the risk, and I'm willing to be that first one to write the first check to the entrepreneur to so that they can fulfill that promise. And they really do appreciate being, because if you're an entrepreneur, you come up with an idea, you're alone, you're starting to build it. There isn't there isn't much support. Most people think you're a little crazy, or you're socially a little bit ostracized. But when somebody else says this is a good idea and we give it a Draper stamp of approval, all of a sudden they've got a platform they can stand on. And so that's, I think, what we do for them. I mean, also we make introductions and that kind of thing to customers, but mostly it's just like the confidence that you've got a Draper stamp of approval and you get a check, and that check helps you build your business. I think that's what we do mostly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your Detroit live taping and what you've managed to tape here so far.
Well, we did a couple of things. I was at the Move conference uh, doing there was a panel there, and I had done it before, and so I kind of came back. I'd done it, I don't know, 10 years ago, and they put me on stage and they said, what should we do in Detroit? Looks like Tesla's going to eat our lunch. And I said, well, you missed the electric cars, so you better make them fly.
Hmm.
And I got lots of nasty comments from the president of Ford and the president of GM, and they were saying, who is this guy coming from outside? He doesn't understand the automotive industry and blah 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 blah. And so anyway, I came back. They asked me the same question. I gave them the same answer. You better make them fly. And they're starting to. And there's some really interesting technologies now happening. And I saw a bunch of them. At the new lab, I saw a bunch. And then when we filmed Meet the Drapers live, we had input from a variety of different sources. I think we evaluated something like 1,000 companies to put the four on our show, and the four on our show are quite impressive. And uh, I think Detroit has a great future with the innovators. I think they've the parents of people in Detroit used to say, "Hey, if you work really hard, you can get a job at Ford or GM." And now I think the parents of people in Detroit are saying, "Hey, this is the center of all transportation," or it was until some really major breakthroughs. Um, See what you can do to innovate beyond where we are today. And so I'm a big fan of innovators, and I saw some great ones here in Detroit.
Yeah, we were the Silicon Valley of America 125 years ago. Then, unfortunately, all these auto companies became big and bureaucratic, which, as you know, big bureaucratic companies aren't particularly innovative. But there's a lot of folks that are really focused in Detroit, as you said, at New Lab and other places, on what's the next thing for autos? Like I said, maybe it is flying. Um, but yeah, and the state of Michigan and Detroit and a lot of people are putting a lot of money and effort into this because they understand that changes have to be made. And so I'm glad that you think that we're getting more innovative in Detroit.
Yeah, the ones I saw were very innovative. I was excited about quite a few of the entrepreneurs that we met with, and a lot of them building around transportation. Um, I don't think, I do think that Tesla is probably going to grab the greatest market share uh, in the automotive world. So if you're, I mean, they're going to win in electric, they're going to win in self-driving, and they're going to win in the Uberization of all automobiles. Uh, and so we're moving in that direction if you're talking about a car that drives on the ground.
Yes.
But if you can make it fly, I know we've backed several drone companies and a couple of new uh, airplane competitors and a electric vertical takeoff and landing company called Aleph. And those companies, I think, are going to make mobility much more interesting for people. You would not have had the excuse of being too far away from Detroit. You would have just hopped in your VTOL, and you would have been there in 10 minutes. And I think that that is the future of transportation. And I think,
Hmm.
on the other hand, I'm not the engineer, the entrepreneur, the innovator who will come up with how you're going to get there. You might be thinking of transportation in a whole different way. You might be beaming people up. You might be uh, teleporting people through holographic means. There are there are going to be a lot of changes in how people transport from one place to another. And I think, pounding out the same kind of car is not going to be the future.
Okay.
So
So,
you're actually seeing companies that you think can make flying cars safe and affordable then? Because those are the, as I see it, those are the two biggest issues. We've got the technology to make them, but it's making them safe and affordable.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just takes somebody innovating, and they'll come up with, I mean, we're not on Mars yet, but Elon is saying we're going to Mars, and there are lots of little hurdles that people are going to throw up on the way. But on the other hand, the greatest entrepreneurs bring the best engineers to the problem and the opportunity. And so he has a way of, inspiring people. And then anybody who is a good engineer and they say somehow they can help people get to Mars, they're going to jump on that opportunity. So engineers often think that way. They want a hard problem. They want something that they can do uh, that other people can't necessarily do, or they want to try something new. And I think that's where a lot of people are held back, and big companies are held back by thinking thinking that the world is as it is and we're not going to change it. I think the world is here to be molded. I think it's it looks and acts a lot like clay, and I think we can mold it in any way we want. So, uh, yeah, people can do that stuff. And if the first one's not safe, hey, the first airplanes weren't safe either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
that's right. All
All
right.
right,
So,
so tell us about how people can find Meet the Drapers, the show.
Oh, you can see it on YouTube. We don't have a huge audience in the U.S., but we're actually doing a whole season in the U.S. Most of our seasons have been international, but we're doing a whole season in the U.S., season 10, and so I think that'll captivate the U.S. audience. But it's really fun. I have these guest judges that I make them drapers because it's called Meet the Drapers, and so anybody who's on the show gets adopted into the family. So I had Joe Montana Draper on the show, and the former treasurer of the U.S., Rosie Rios Draper. She's actually been on the show 4 times, so it's Rosie Rios Draper, 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 Draper. And I've had the biggest guru in India. His name is uh, Guru Dev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. And so his new name is Guru Dev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Draper. We've had beauty queens and supermodels on the show. It's a kick. It's fantastic. And we've been all over the world. We've had episodes everywhere from Sri Lanka to Taipei
Mm.
uh, to Rio to God, Buenos Aires to all over India. We had a whole season in India, and we're just finding entrepreneurs wherever we go. And it turns out it's a great deal source machine for me because I fund a lot of these companies.
ah, important. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts before we sign off, Tim?
Well, I recommend everybody buy some Bitcoin because I'm not so sure how long the dollar is going to be able to hold up, given all the political issues, all the inflationary issues. Anyway, buy some so that you can support your family in the case of a banking crisis. Other than that, go out, innovate. The world is for you to mold into your greatest imagination.